We're here at Sandwich Island Composites and the Ding King, Mark Raaphorst. How's it going, Mark?
Oh, good.
Good. So we're looking now over here. We have F-16, the first version. It's hollow, it's molded, it's carbon. And the second version coming out real soon is also hollow, molded, and carbon.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct.
So tell us about these boards. What's the difference? What's the benefit? Who would be riding it? That kind of thing.
Boards, the F-16 is made for trade wind days, downwind days. It comes alive when it's 10 miles an hour plus. Got plenty nose rocker to make leg drops. It holds people from 250 pounds down to 120-pound girls. It is the bottom has plenty undertucker, so it's forgiving if you get side chops. It handles all that good. The fastest part of the rocker when you use the steering is as soon as you catch a bump, you step back on the board and you ride it like it is a longboard. The key is not to always stand here and be married to the steering system. What you want to do as soon as you get the bump, you want to use the steering to get into the bumps, and possibly if it's a mellow drop, you can still use the steering and ride it like this. But once it's really good, you step back, let go of the steering, you stand right here, and you ride it like it is a longboard. A lot of people ask me what's the difference between the first and the second generation. The deck, as you can see, in here it has a slight bit of dome. In here you have more of a ridge that you stand against, so you have better grip and better feeling of the board. Ultimately, the rockers are the same, but we took some of the tail kick that the first generation has. This one has a bit of a kick if you look at it closely, and we took that out on the new F-16. We smoothed out the curve in the back. And
so you mean the rocker?
The rocker
on this
right
one
in this section in here was accelerated, and we took that out on the second generation. It's a more gradual turn.
It also seems thicker on your second generation,
yes.
The tail.
We moved the volume towards the sides, outward, and towards the nose and tail. So it's not necessarily thicker, but the rails became boxier, and the tail was a little thicker too.
Does that change the dynamics of how it rides?
Yes, it keeps your feet wet. It keeps your feet dry once you're standing on the board, which we don't feel like water belongs on the deck. It needs to go over the rails. Slide along the rails, but not come onto the deck. That's why we increased the volume. We increased that V shape in the nose too. You shake the water off once you.
Are you talking about this part?
Yes, that part.
Okay.
There. Yes. Because no matter what you do in a board, once in a while you poke because of the length, and if the wave period is short, it happens. So how to deal with it is...
so this way it comes on and just slides off the sides.
Yeah. And then the biggest...
It's really pronounced actually on this, huh?
The biggest difference is the bottoms. On the second generation, we instead of a rolled V, like you'll soon see once I flip that board, it has a bit of a rolled V. This one has a single concave with two side panels here for stability. And
let's try and wipe that.
And
it's harder to see on the black carbon bottom, the side panels than it is on the white bottom.
yeah. Tomorrow you'll see it on it. So on this one.
Oh yeah, big difference.
I'll grab what I'm getting at. Right where you're standing, you still have some V in here, and on this board where you're standing.
Was that V just pure V, or was that a double concave on that?
It turns into a double concave too in here.
Mm-hmm.
You can go back to it. You see, you have some space in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But on this one, it's just a single kind of,
concave with two little side panels.
Yeah. Now you can see the side panel, where it's It's flat here.
Yes.
The bottom seems to make it more stable too.
Yes.
That's what I noticed on the F-14.
Yes. A lot more stable. This board is actually 5/8 of an inch wider than this board. So it became narrower, but due to the bottom contours, it became more stable.
So does this version 2 replace version 1? Or is there still people that will buy a version 1?
I still get requests for this particular board. It is not like an outdated, non-working type board. It's just, that one's a later model. Ultimately, these boards are going to come overseas, and these are going to stay produced here only. And so, yeah.
And the nose, the bottom part of the nose changed a lot too. And this way, actually, we can see it side by side, right?
Yes.
So this one, you kind of kept a little bit, like a displacement, a little bit almost, huh?
Displacement type, and we found that it doesn't help much. I was hoping that once you come down from a wave and you hit, this would really splash the water off to the side more and not slow you down. But we found that it doesn't make a hell lot of difference, so we opted to keep it flat.
Actually, on this one, isn't there's a little bit of concave in the nose, huh?
It should be flat. It is flat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because what I found on the F-14 with this right side type nose is it seems to pop over into the next swell easier than the round one.
Over it than this. This somehow sticks a little bit. It's a little bit more forgiving. It comes out straight once you poke into a wave, but this one is, it skips over and climbs over the next wave easier, I found, with something like that.
Okay.
And then what else? Rudder placement stayed the same. We do have a new rudder design. Maybe I can show you that.
The new, it's a lower aspect type of rudder, huh? Does that, what does it do?
I was hoping it would be a little less drag because we thinned it out in here.
But you kept the same foil on that kind of.
Pretty. The leading edge is still pretty full because what happens is if we thin it out too much and we were steering, this thing called stalling. If it's too thin, the water would not flow over the low end side of it. It would cavitate. If it's too much of a knife, if you turn it, the water would break loose and cavitate, and it would just not be working at all. If you're going at higher speeds, like a windsurf board or even a surfboard, you can thin the leading edge down more.
That's an interesting concept because I was talking with a friend who's kind of a fin aficionado, and that's what he said. If you have the wider leading edge, it's actually a better design.
At lower speed.
Yeah, well, for the surfboard fins that he was showing me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried with different fins, and I was, the other fins didn't work. You would turn it, and it would literally you put the brake on it, and the board would still go forward, and instead of changing direction.
So you tested it, and is it a big difference than the original?
These
thing?
two, no, not a big difference. I just like the looks of this better than this. We're making these. You can only pull 50 to 100 parts out of a mold. After that, they either need to be resurfaced, fixed up, the chips, or you can consider building a new mold from scratch. And it was just easier to do something nice and symmetrical. We switched to a CNC design versus something that I foiled with my hands. More accurate.
Okay.